everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd review what is about to become the biggest movie of all time, Avengers Endgame. So, this is a pretty monumental movie, especially if you're a Marvel fan. As a really big Avengers fan, I have so many memories of watching these movies and just having such a great time seeing them. I remember watching the first Avengers movie when I was 16 and I had just taken the SAT. So that turned a pretty not fun day into like a super awesome day. And I remember I went to the theater and it was packed and there were people sitting on the aisles, which I think is incredibly illegal. But it was all because they had to know, they had to know what was going to happen and if the Avengers were going to save the world. And those are the kind of memories that I just love about these movies. Just fun days like that. And I feel like I've just kind of grown up watching these movies. From my teen years to now. It feels like time has gone by so fast. But it's crazy to think that now we may never see these core Avengers on screen together again. It just makes me kind of emotional. And that's why this is such a big deal. But I gotta admit, I was initially a little skeptical going in to see Avengers Endgame because I was not a big fan of Infinity War. I thought that it was super repetitive in the script. It was like the same thing happened again. Thanos was like, I really want that stone. And then three characters would be like, you're not gonna get it, man, because we're gonna stop you. And then he would say, well, I'm stronger than you. And then they would say, well, you're not. And then they would fight, and then Thanos would get the stone. And then we watched that for about 2 hours and 30 minutes, and then the movie was over. So that's not my favorite kind of script. Not to mention the fact that most of the movie was just about Thanos and his character development. And to me, that's just not the sign of a fantastic movie when I have to listen to the villain talking about why genocide is cool. Like, not really my thing. And, sometimes you go into a movie and you're, like, expecting one thing and you get something completely different. And listen, I'm not saying, like, that's why I go see these movies or anything, because I'm not shallow. But I'm saying, like, I expect, like, more than 6 minutes of screen time, okay? I'm not... I just, there's some things that I would like to see when I go to these movies for 2 hours and 30 minutes. So, needless to say, Infinity War was not my favorite. So I wasn't sure with Avengers Endgame. I was like, am I gonna have to suffer again? Is this gonna be, more suffering time? But I am happy to say it was awesome. I love this movie. I think, if you're a Marvel fan, I think you're gonna have a great time with this movie. It is just so much fun to watch. And I had heard that this was like the culmination of 11 years of movie making. And I was like, okay, yeah, we've all been watching these movies for 11 years. But I didn't realize what they meant until I sat down and watched it. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. They are literally having callbacks from, like, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Thor the Dark World. Just movies you wouldn't even think of, that they would have cameos, callbacks, and little tidbits from that they're throwing in for the fans. And it was just awesome considering, we spend so much time watching these movies and then we have this grand spectacle event film that they throw all this information into in one movie. It's amazing. So, now that I haven't even talked about the plot, I don't want to give too much away because there are spoilers in the plot, but basically, after Thanos has dusted half the population, the remaining Avengers have to come together and figure out a way to find him, find the Infinity Stones, and try to get everybody back. So, it's quite a conundrum they've found themselves in. What I really enjoyed about this movie is that, one, we get so much time with the core Avengers and we get to see a lot of fantastic character development for them. And two, it has a really great 3-act structure and really good pacing. So I think the directors, Anthony and Joe Russo, did a really good job kind of focusing on that 3-act structure and building up to a really epic conclusion. So it's kind of a slow burn, and it really kind of takes you on this journey with the characters, and then it builds up to something fantastic at the end in the final sequence. So that is something that the fans can really enjoy. So in terms of the characters, that is one of the things I love the most about the Marvel Universe, is just how great all the actors' chemistry is with each other and how fun these characters are to watch. I think Robert Downey Jr. kind of started it all with Iron Man, and he is so great in this movie. He brings his usual humor and sarcastic wit, but he also has a lot of heart as Tony Stark here. And as great as he is with, Steve Rogers and Thor and Hulk and Hawkeye and Black Widow, it's great to see all their interactions. It's also really good to see him with Pepper Potts. We don't always get to see their interactions, and in Endgame we do. So I really enjoyed getting to see that. And then Captain America, my favorite character. Chris Evans does such a good job as Captain America, and he always has. And I loved seeing his arc in this movie. I think he was so fantastic here. He has so many great moments, and I think Steve Rogers has come so far since the first time we saw him in Captain America, the First Avenger, and it's just great to see kind of where he ends up in this movie and where it takes him. And he also has some really funny moments that are kind of surprising and some really epic ones as well. So if you're a fan, you're really going to enjoy those. Also, shout out to all the Chris Evans fans who have been supporting since Nanny Diaries. The greatest movie of 2007. I don't know if any of you all are familiar, but it has been named by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences the greatest film of all time. That's true, that's a fact. That's an official document right there. The Nanny Diaries is the greatest film of all time. Oh, such a good movie. So true. It also swept the Academy Awards that year. Little known fact, a lot of people think it was No Country for Old Men, but it was actually The Nanny Diaries. People try to rewrite history, but we know what movie really won that year. It's true. Scarlett Johansson, who was also in The Nanny Diaries, is so good as Natasha Romanoff / Black Widow. She has a very emotional arc in this film. I think she just plays it so well. She is one of those characters who kind of just doesn't get the respect she deserves, I feel like. She kind of gets pushed to the side and doesn't get talked about as much, but she's been one of my favorites since the beginning, and she's just so hardcore. Black Widow just does what she wants and fights so hardcore, and I don't know, I just feel like she doesn't get the respect she deserves, and nor does she get the writing she deserves in a lot of these movies. I think in Endgame, I do feel like her character goes on a journey that is very believable with her character arc. However, there is something that happens after a certain point that I felt like wasn't super great for her character. It's very hard to explain without spoilers, but as a Black Widow fan, I felt like she was a little disrespected in a way. And that's the best way I can describe it. But Scarlett Johansson was awesome as usual, and I'm really excited to see the solo Black Widow movie, which is finally coming out. Why did that take 3,000 years? I don't know. We're gonna cue the song Year 3000 right there. Jeremy Renner and Scarlett Johansson share a lot of screen time together in this movie as Hawkeye and Black Widow, and I really enjoyed seeing their storyline together. I think that Hawkeye is one of those kind of like random Avengers that you're kind of like, oh, okay, Hawkeye's back. Okay, he was gone for 3 years. He's back. That was random. You just never know when he's gonna come and go. Like, you know, he shows up in a movie, you're like, this could easily be his last scene. And then 3 years later, you're like, okay, wasn't his last scene. Okay. But that's just kind of the nature of Hawkeye. He's in and out, you know. Who knows when he'll come back. He could be in this franchise for 40 years, you know. Who knows? But I really did. I think this is probably Hawkeye's best character development in any Avengers film. I'd have to revisit the first Avengers movie. I'm not sure. But I really do think he was great in this. He has a very good storyline, and Jeremy Renner plays it so well. And his storyline with Natasha Romanoff is so good here too. And really enjoyed that. And it kind of goes back to the first Avengers movie, that you get to see a lot of their friendship. So good job, whoever wrote Hawkeye's storyline here. You actually made me forget that he's been gone for 3 years. So Thor is just amazing, and I love Thor. I think Chris Hemsworth plays him fantastically, always. Love Chris Hemsworth. Great guy. Anyway, they kind of take Thor in a different character direction in this movie, and I've read online that a lot of people kind of aren't into it, but I really liked it. I thought it was really an interesting way to take the character. I think a lot of it is humorous and is funny, but I also think a lot of it kind of has some emotional moments that are really poignant. So, I don't know. I think this YouTube channel supports Thor. So, if you don't feel the same, feel free to go to another channel. That's fine. Anyway, another core Avenger is Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. Not going to talk about his storyline a whole lot because of spoilers, but I will say I think he did really well here. I actually liked his acting here way more than Infinity War. I'm sorry to rag on Infinity War so much. I just have so much pent-up emotion about it, and it's good to talk it out. My other MVP of this movie is it's Paul Rudd. I think he has just secured his spot as an Avenger now. You know, I don't know if I guess he is considered an Avenger. I don't know if just the core ones are, but he was just so good in this movie. He was cracking me up. He's so funny. Like, all of his lines were hilarious, and he just plays the role perfectly. Paul Rudd, if you ever see this, which you won't, fantastic job. You're the perfect casting. You did great. So, if I have any, like, qualms about this movie, it would be the fact that I just said the word qualms. But if I had any issues with this movie, it would be one of the story plot lines could get a little bit confusing for people, and it may be, if you kind of dig into it, you could find some inaccuracies, I would say. But other than that, I really don't have that many problems with this movie. I love this movie. I have seen it a couple times. I have seen it 3 times. Hey, we gotta unseat Avatar at some point. It cannot stay at the top forever. James Cameron, this movie is coming for you. So, I think that Avengers Endgame is a fantastic movie, especially if you're a Marvel fan. I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. So, how did you feel about Avengers Endgame? Did you like it? Did you love it? Were you disappointed? And who are your favorite characters? Mine were Captain America, Black Widow, and Thor, the usual 3. But also, I've added one, and that is Ant-Man / Scott Lang. He just secured his spot as an MVP to me. So, pretty cool. I am sad that, we're not going to have another Avengers movie like this anymore, but I feel like this really secured its spot as one of the best Avengers movies we've ever had. And it's a great way to end the franchise of the core 6 Avengers. Thank you for watching this video, and be sure to go to my website, showmethemovies.net, to check out more of my reviews and more Avengers coverage. Be sure to check back here for more videos soon, and thanks!